Welcome, everybody, to a special day and time edition of the CoinFlip Week 9 NFL season, episode 27. With me, as always, is my partner, Tambo, at Totag and Tambo on Twitter. How you doing tonight, Tambo?
I'm doing well. I'm excited, man. We're back. I know it's a little bit later than what we wanted, but that was bucket list yesterday for you, and I would have wanted to go to it as well. So I hope you enjoyed the game. It was definitely a good one. I watched it here at home, and now Halloween, man, the scary, spooky edition. We're getting into it.
Yeah, I not the biggest baseball guy. I watched the playoffs, same with NBA. But when the opportunity came, it was hard to pass up. It was a long day, needless to say, driving to and back from Houston on last minute notice, but well worth it. So we moved the podcast / videos to tonight before we all get out with our kiddos for trick or treating. So thank you guys for your patience. We'll obviously be wall-to-wall coverage Saturday night in the Audible as well. But hopefully we can get you some info, even though a little day late, and you guys can catch up on it tonight after trick-or-treating and tomorrow. First, I'll knock out the sponsors real quick. As always, our sponsor for the entire season of the podcast, Super Draft. Use the code GUP and deposit $10 and get a $10 bonus play on your first $20. You put that money in play, and whatever you win or take out of it is yours. If you want to withdraw it the next day after you win, you can do that. There's no rollover or anything like that. They have a 4,700 total entry pot that is $20 per entry. It's 80,000 pot, guaranteed, 10K to first. We've talked about it at length last week, but if you want to get in and you're new or you're maybe struggling at DK, it's a great time. It's guaranteed layover almost. It's been the first few weeks. If not, even if it fills, it's still great value. That's only 4,700 entries compared to 300,000 entries in the Million Maker type deal. We have content and light up builders for it as well. So, an advantage over some because it's a little bit different scoring with a multiplier instead of salary, but it's fun, unique. Go check it out. They also have MLB, NFL, NBA, PGA, NHL if you do that. So they have all the sports there covered, similar format, so you can go check it out. Fanshare Sports, get 20% off when you use the code GUP. They have the Pro Advantage on all the ownership, deep dive details, lineup builder, content, etc. Major overhaul on their site this summer. So if you haven't been on there recently, go give them a check out. All of these affiliates and links are on gupscorner.com/affiliate. PFF, Pro Football Focus. Right now, you can get $50 off the Elite package or for an annual Elite package, or $10 off your first month of the Elite package if you do the monthly. The link to that code is GUP on the website. Always rate and review us on iTunes, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitch. We will have a big announcement at the end of the podcast where the rate and review that we've been telling you to do will pay off for you. So pay attention to that as we get towards the end of the podcast. The Listener League is now up. The winner will get a choice of a new Gups Corner shirt or hat. So whoever wins it, you get the money that's in there. Plus, you'll get a choice of the shirt or hat if you win this week. Last week's lineup, Tambo. Well, first of all, I finished DFL probably for the first time in a Listener League, golf or NFL. So that kind of sums up how my NFL bullet week went. It was horrible. Like I missed on every level, which away. The pool I had wasn't horrible. I did a 3 max, the 3 max 150, I believe. And one of my lineups was okay, but my bullet was horrible last week. But our Listener League was Peck 1022. He had Stafford, Barkley, Fournette, Evans, Brown, Williams, Hawkinson, Latavius Murray, and the Jaguars D. Very solid lineup. Pretty cash-esque. Any comments or thoughts there on the build?
No, it's like you said. I think it was a little more cash-esque, and it was the right plays. Like if you look at it, was more in the cash-esque area of the running backs, and that's what we talk about all the time, where you can be a little bit more chalky, quote unquote, there and get away with it because we know the production, we know the volume should be there. It's barring something like an injury where you had, like myself, Chase Edmonds, who pretty much buried my week. I would have had a phenomenal week had he not went down, but it was a last-minute decision to play Chase Edmonds over Fournette versus Patriots defense and the Jaguars defense, and I could have got away with it, but Edmonds got injured. So good job to him. I mean, taking it down is always tough. I'm with you. You're with me, I should say now. I've definitely come DFL in the Listener League before, so welcome to my world, Gup.
Yeah, and as always, if you're new to the site or the content, we did a season preview pod that goes in depth about bankroll management and contest selection. If you want to go check that out, it's on the feed. We are skipping the Thursday night game because it will be kicking off probably shortly after or before this comes out. So, not much time to digest it. We've been in Slack and all that. I did release a play, kind of a free play of the week. Cardinals plus 10 was my play. Just like them at home, keep it competitive. 49ers coming off a high. They are that good. I like them. I obviously bet them over 8 preseason, which I think that's almost a lock right now. If they lose out, that would be the all-time beat. But I like the Cards at home on a short week. 49ers coming off of everybody talking them up for 4 days that they're the best team in the NFL now, or could be. So I'm going to take my chance there with Kyler Murray. I like him as a captain spot, and I'll probably play Kenyon Drake. Other than that, any thoughts on showdown tonight?
I'm with you. I mean, the running backs just changed too much. So Kenyon Drake was too cheap based on if he's going to be the starter, which it sounds like he will. Everyone sounds like they're going to be out. Well, we know Edmonds is out, and then it's going to come down to DJ, which they announced earlier. It's likely out. So you just never know till the last minute. They could announce 10 minutes before the game that Zach Zenner is going to start for all we know. But I'm not trying to get too cute with that side. I like the 49ers side a lot more in this game. And I think the 5-1 49ers will be common, but I think you just have to leave some money on the table or mix it up. I think a 4-2 is probably the worst I would go beyond the 5-1s with the San Francisco side.
Yeah, and I'm staring at a 3-3 or a 4-2 favoring the Cards. I'm just doing a bullet, and it's just a gut deal. I'm going against the chalk betting, the chalk play, and hoping the Cardinals keep it close. And I nail the 2 of the top 3 49ers score. And I mean, obviously, if I hit, then I'll ship most everything because I'm going to have a very unique build and not have to worry about any kind of chalkiness. So we'll see how it turns out. I got to wrap that up before it goes live. But why you guys are all here is the playbook, the Sunday main slate for us. We're going to go through each position. We give a play, fade, and a value. We double up at the wide receiver and running back position. Defense and tight end, we go 1 each. Quarterback, we go 1 each. Defense, we just do a play and a value. There is no quote unquote fading defenses necessarily with all the options out there. Quarterback 5,500 or less, running back 5,000 or less, wide receiver 5,000 or less, tight end 4,000 or less, defense 3,000 or less for the value plays. We try to stick to that as best we can. Sometimes the pricing, which we did see some tweaks this week, hit our first 5-figure guy. We'll get to that. So Tambo with the quarterbacks this week, a lot of options, unique games. I think there's 2 kind of common, stackable, high percentage ownership games out there. Where are you going quarterback?
Yeah, the 2 games, Seattle, Tampa, and then Detroit, Oakland. That's the 2, 50-plus point totals that you're going to see out there. So they're going to be common, but the easy pick's Russell Wilson, I think, just because matchup and everything and all that. But honestly, I like Stafford a little bit more. So my play is going to be Stafford. Basically just going off the same thing we've seen, right? Oakland's been chopped up completely by Watson, Rodgers last couple of weeks. With no running game, a couple of things about Detroit, no running game for them or no running game semblance, I'm saying, basically with, losing carry onto the IR and them switching everything up. And then on top of it, at the start of the season, it's perceived that Detroit was going to have this super slow pace, but, they haven't been able to stay in games. They're getting thrown on. Slay was out last game. We got to monitor that. So they're not able to play their game. Therefore, they end up having to throw it a bunch. And that just leads to the 300 bonus every time, yard bonus for Stafford pretty much. And all the options, it's very condensed, right? It's Galladay, it's Jones, it's Hawkinson, maybe a little bit of Amendola. So definitely like Stafford. My fade's going to be Darnold. I'm not sure why we're hearing all this talk earlier in the week. I guess it's just because of the Miami matchup, but their O-line is bad. I think the other reasoning is, Le'Veon Bell has been already talking about the squeaky wheel on him. He's talked to the coach. He said, you can't just give me 12 touches. You got to give me the ball. I got to be able to get it out there and run with it and get me passes, he's saying too. So maybe he could help the pass game on the checkdowns with Darnold, but I just don't see enough value in it. I'd rather play him as a one-off than I would with Darnold and a stack or anything. So I feel like they're kind of in shambles. And then my value is the opposite side of that game. I think it's going to be popular and it might be bad chalk, quote unquote, but really the quarterback chalk is, we talk about it all the time. It's not really the big deal that you have to worry about. It's how do you stack it up and how do you do the whole stack? So I'm good with Derek Carr. On the other side of that game, like I said, I think they just want to go back and forth. I think it's the one that I could see more likely to be the shootout. I know teams can't really run on Tampa for that Seattle game. So you think Russell and that game is just going to go back and forth. but I think we see it a little bit different. You know, you've made some great calls on the Atlanta games these last couple of weeks. I kind of feel like the Seattle Tampa Bay one might disappoint, and we might just see Pete Carroll try to run Carson 25 times, whether he can or can't, and see what he can do and just slow the game down that way. So I really like the Detroit Oakland side better for me. What do you like?
Yeah, I think Winston can be a good play. Obviously, high volume potential. I don't necessarily like him on the road, especially with his, ability to throw multiple interceptions. And obviously, those games are going to be talked about. No need to kind of talk about the chalk all the time. I don't mind many of those plays. I actually like Kirk Cousins as a play this week. Kind of my off the wall type deal at Kansas City. I'll be interested to see if Mahomes winds up playing. The Chiefs obviously is secondary is susceptible to deep ball, mid range. I think Diggs or Thielen could both have good games. And if Kansas City can score and keep the pace up, because Minnesota's going to try to establish the run, and they probably will. Kansas City can be run on, and Cook's going to be on the list here in a little bit. But I could go a naked Cousins with Cook and then not worry about who he's going to throw to and just try to be different than everybody else. I don't see many people getting to Cousins at 6,700, so he was a play for me. My fade was Stafford. Only when I evaluate everything in every scenario, I think he's got the highest probability to not return the value out of the four quarterbacks in the two games that we're looking at. If he's going to be low owned of the four, I certainly don't mind it. I don't like him on the road generally, and at 6,800, I'll take that position and fade him. And then my value was the same as you because of that. I kind of like Carr because you get it at 5,500. I did have a B player there in case you went Carr as well, and I think Rivers could be sneaky at home. 5,100. I think that game could turn into a little bit of a scoring fest. I could see a 35-31 type game there easily, especially being at home, must win for the Chargers type situation. So we know Green Bay can score and score at will. Don't mind either one of those quarterbacks in naked for that matter. In that Chargers-Packers game, if you're looking to get outside the two main chalky plays or games, or Cousins was my other one, as I mentioned before. Any thoughts on any of that in those games? Anything you just hate?
No, actually, we're on the exact same page, surprisingly. And if it's going to be our, tout of the week or our call, that's the two games that I'm on. If I talk about a lot of the chalk here, but only because normally people, that's where they're going. So I kind of want to talk through that, but you'll hear in my other plays and values that I've got throughout the slate that they link up perfectly with the guys you're on. I'm on a different side. You said it sounds like you're on both. You're going to play, and we'll transition to running back with that. You're going to play with Cook, with Cousins. I like Cook a lot more. I don't think people are going to go to Cook because they're either going to pay up for the 10K CMC or they're just going to go down to all the value plays, which we'll get to. But I like that game still, and I don't even mind if I was going to make a point to note this, but I don't even mind if Mahomes is out because Moore is not good. He's not a Mahomes. But if you remember back, just a couple of years ago, we had Alex Smith throwing to Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek was going off. It wasn't like he needed Mahomes to become who he was. So, this guy's capable of chucking a 10-yard slant to Tyreek and having him go to the house. And you run like a Moore, Cook, Tyreek stack, just a 3-man 2-1. That's completely unique in a slate where everybody's on the same guys in those two games that I talked about. So that was one. And then you talked about the Rivers play, which will link up nicely with some of the values and other plays I talk about. So with that said, yeah. I mean, I can kick off running back for us, Gup, and I started it with Cook, like I said. So, like I said, I think it's a great spot. We know the matchup. Kansas City can get run on. It's no secret there. But like I said, it's all to do with the game that we play and the chess/checkers that we're in. And I think people either pay up for CMC or go away from it. That's what projection systems are showing. That's what the general public just this far. We are starting it later in the week for once. So, it is a Thursday. I've got a little bit more information than normally, and that's just what I'm hearing. So I like Cook. I'll go to him. We said at the start of the season that we would just keep playing him until he got to that 9K range, and not that we were going to get off him. We just expected him to be at 9K. This is not a surprise to you or I that Cook's in the 9K range. I don't know if it is to the rest of the general public, but this guy's a great running back, and I think he's at his ceiling, but he's where he should be. If you look at his numbers and his volume and what he's done and the team that he's on, it fits nicely. So I had Cook. I also had Chubb, another guy. He just feels like this week's version of the all volume for cheap. So $7,300. Denver's also got run on. We saw a lot of the Baker conversation in the media. The Jesus Tony or whatever he says, where he's talking to Tony, what's his name there from the media, and telling him like, look, I'm competitive. This, that, and I love that spirit. I like to see that in a guy, but I don't think that's why I'm just going to go and play him. And I don't really like his pass weapons as much as the next, group of people that I'm going to talk about. So I'm on more of a Chubb game there, even though they're on the road. I'm not always a fan of that, but I still like it here. And then also, as far as value goes, I'll get to my fade in a second, but if Walton's going to be the starter against the Jets, and that is what it is with Mosley still out, the price wasn't adjusted. I think he's 4K or 4,500. Like he's just fits right in. I think he's 4,500. And then Samuels is 4K. He's the other value. Connor still didn't practice today. We're at Thursday now. I'm going to go with Walton as a value and Connor as a value. And then as far as my fade goes, I wouldn't say it's a full fade because, like I said, Carroll can get crazy. But to me, Carson, I don't see him being able to pay off value in that matchup. Like I said last week, even CMC didn't get his, as far as rushing, which is all that is. He had to get 2 touchdowns to meet value, and Carson's priced up a little bit. And I just don't like it in that matchup. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with most of that. I found it weird that they finally moved CMC up on a week where I don't know that it's the best matchup for him by any means. I like Bell. I'm interested to see, and I'm predicting that he'll be low looked at just because trade rumors, yada yada. But I mean, pure matchup wise, I mean, it should be a smash spot for him, against Miami. So maybe an overlooked there at 7,700. If there's ever a week for him to kind of get heavily involved in this offensive game plan and then get a win under their belt, I would think it would be this week and he'd be involved in it. I don't mind even a sneaky stack there if the tight end comes back finally after his suspension and being injured. If he plays, I mean, you could even go Bell, Herndon, and then Darnold, even if you want. I don't know how much points you're going to get scored in that game, so I wouldn't get too cute there. But I think Bell could be a one-off for sure if you want to go that route. I'm with you on Cook. Obviously, been on him most all year, really. Was heavy on him in the preseason as far as best drafts and then season-long draft info. I like Cook all year long, and he's in a lot of my teams, so he's helping me a lot. Should be a smash spot against the Chiefs. He should be able to just and the coach is going to try, especially being on the road against a tough team, try to control the clock, run the ball, and he catches too. So he's got plenty of upside. And I agree with you. I think because of the pricing that most people, they're going to reach up to a 9,500 Cook. They're just going to keep going to CMC. So I think it could be under owned in that spot. My favorite is CMC, unless because of the pricing he becomes under owned. I don't like him in that matchup. I mean, I think he could potentially be, a top 5 scorer this week, but at 10K, I don't see him blowing the slate open at 10K, right. Getting a 40, 50 point week. So his upside there is limited, in my opinion, against a fairly decent team that, they can stop the run and be aggressive. And on the other side, they can control the clock, and they'll try to against Carolina. So CMC may not be on the field a whole lot. Could be a very slow, nasty type game that, again, ceiling on the upside just seems low to me. And so I think I'll fade there. I like Melvin Gordon as going back to kind of a Rivers type. Gordon at 5K, and not because I think he's done anything better. He's finally going to get involved, but kind of the opposite of CMC at 5K. He can always break and go off. And against Green Bay, who's not been very good against a run, I'm sure Eckler's going to be involved for sure. And both of them could have great games, but I'm saving $1,000 from even Eckler on him. Even if he gets some goal line vultures away and gets a touchdown or 2, or maybe one catching, one running touchdown, I mean, he can break a 70, 80 yarder still. He's probably getting a little bit better in shape now. I think the price point puts him in play this week right at 5K. And then I'm with you on Walton. If he's the guy, good matchup against the Jets. I don't know if I'm going to go down there. I just don't know if that game could be like 10-3, right? And so I don't know. I guess if you're going to try to get up and you need to go down, he's probably, usage wise, he's pretty good, but he probably will wind up being chalky. So I don't know how much I want to go there, but I don't mind him as far as the value play. I'd rather pay 500 up for Gordon for the upside in a potential high scoring game, Chargers Packers, over Walton. I'll roll right into the wide receivers unless they have anything that stuck out to you there on the running backs there.
No, I kind of like the Gordon thing is about it, just because we'll talk in a minute about a receiver that's a similar price that he could be a good pivot off of. So yeah, I like Gordon Call there for 5K. Like I said, there's definitely a good ceiling there and upside. Like you said, opposite of CMC makes perfect sense.
Yeah, wide receiver, I'll kick it off. I like DJ Chark. Good matchup this week. I mean, he's been utilized a lot. Used. I don't know in that game, potentially could, any game with Houston can obviously be high scoring. We've seen it all year. 6,400. He may kind of go under the radar with everything else that's out there this week and the combos and stacks available. I don't know how much we'll talk about Jacksonville Houston game. So a DJ Chark is a guy I don't mind playing, and a mini stack there if you want to look at a Watson, Hopkins, Chark type deal. Fournette could be in play, anything like that. And then I like Diggs, obviously, because I'm going Cousins. I do like Godwin this week in the matchup. If you're going to go Winston, I think I don't know how many. I don't know. It's so hard because you never know which. It doesn't seem like they both have big games at once. Evan and Godwin. It's like as soon as he locks in on someone, that's what they just go to, and they one of the guys have a big week. So it's tough to make a call there between Godwin and Evans, but I would lean Godwin if you're going through that stack over there on that game. But for my setup right now, I like Diggs and Chark as my plays. My fade's OBJ for similar reasons that you mentioned. I just don't at 6,600. He's probably top 5 to 8 projected points this week at Denver. A road game for Baker. I don't know where that mindset is in that team, and it could go bad in a hurry. And if one or two things goes against them, I mean, it could be a bad spot. And I just think there's so much value on the board. I don't need to press on an OBJ play this week. My values is Renfro from Oakland. I think usage and catch wise, reception wise, if you're looking for a really cheap guy in that game that may not be as high owned as some of the other plays, that could be a sneaky stack possibility. And then kind of a one off mentioned earlier, maybe you do CMC and maybe you go DJ Moore to try to pair up with that to maybe be a little different. At 4,800, I think he has upside. Getting a lot of targets, not doing a lot with them. Had 4 or 5 catches last week, just nothing big, but he's capable of always busting the big one. Allen keeps looking at him, keeps getting him involved. And so if you do like that game and a guy under 5,000, he's a guy that I like. What about you?
Yeah, the Godwin Evans thing I sort of had pegged, but the difference is I have a backup to that is the chalk backup, but the difference there is they're almost the same price. So it's almost like you said, they don't really have a good game together. It's tough to price them all in. You could try and do that. You could either put them both together to be unique and hope that they have that big game, but I think their prices don't really allow for it because they need a really big game. They're the, not the CMC of wide receiver pricing, but they're up there, right? So my backup was I'm looking at, it's sort of that swinging pendulum between Marvin Jones and Golladay, right? When Marvin Jones 4 touchdown week, Golladay had the big week last week. Either of them can have a big game at any time. But to me, I'm just letting the price dictate it because Golladay is all the way up now, and Marvin Jones is all the way down. Marvin Jones $1,700 less, so I'm good to go back to Marvin Jones. I don't ever expect 4 touchdowns, but he always has touchdown upside on top of yardage, on top of short plays, and whatever it might be. So I like him. And then on the other sort of spectrum, in the other chalky game, is the Lockett versus Metcalf theme. And again, Metcalf is just getting all the end zone, all the red zone targets, got another couple last game touchdowns. It's too cheap. They're not increasing his price. If I believe that they can't run on them, like I said, I'm not really high on Carson, I don't think that's going to be the way it plays out once I look through it and see. So I got to go back to Metcalf. The fade for me, like I said, is sort of between the Evans and Godwin thing because it depends on the side, but it feels more like people will go to Evans after the big spike game. And where you said they're not really having 2 good games together, unless you're going to put them together to be different on the opposite way. I would fade Evans and go to Godwin. So I'm on your same page there, not really wanting to chase that. And then the guy, value, you mentioned DJ Moore. That's what I had written down. I think he's a fine play. I think he also works in like a mini stack, a mini game stack. If you had like a Derrick Henry, who we didn't mention before, in a pretty good spot against Carolina, go the opposite running back. That should be popular in that game. If CMC gets ownership, you can leverage it with Henry and then use DJ Moore to run it back the other side and say if Tennessee gets up just running on Carolina like so many teams have, then you would see DJ Moore needing to be utilized more and get off with CMC and leverage that game completely with just a mini stack because it's not going to be a super high scoring game, I don't think, but it has enough points there. And then my one other value I mentioned to your Melvin Gordon play, I still like Mike Williams. $4,600, only went up $600. He's still way under 5K. almost no price adjustment, but still has the huge upside. And to your Rivers call earlier, I mentioned this is a spot I like. If we see, Devontae Adams, I think he was back at practice today. I think it was limited. So if he's playing, we know it should be a good spot for that. Rodgers is always at a good spot. You saw that throw he made last week was just ridiculous. The guy, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but the guy's incredible. So if he's got full weapons and we need Rivers coming back the other way, that's too cheap for Rivers at 5,100, like you mentioned, and too cheap for Mike Williams at 4,600. Still a value play for me.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with most of that there. I don't have any issues with any way you're going. Why don't you roll right into tight end off of that?
Yeah, I think the thing is people will probably be a little bit scared off of the Waller play. So I should have mentioned too, I liked your Renfro call because I mentioned that at the top when I was on Carson, like you mentioned. I don't really want to go away from that just because Carr's chalk. I know Derek Carr chalk sounds like the worst thing in the world, but like I said, it's all how you mix it up. We always talk about that. So Waller, I just don't know. It just feels kind of like people are going to be scared away because of the price. I know he seems like the obvious stack, but like I say all the time, who clicked the button on the Carr and Williams and all of them? I don't know. It should be a common stack, but it's one of those ones that you could see get talked down in the industry as, oh, you can't do that because everyone's going to do it. And then not enough people do it. And that always can happen. So I still like Waller. The fade for me would be Goddard. He gets a lot of talk right now. The, asterisk there, or stipulation would be that it depends on Djax. So Djax is back at practice. A lot of people are paying attention to it. If you're in the bubble that we live in, you'll see it all over Twitter from a few different analysts and guys that I, follow the stats and that I follow, but they'll talk a lot about it. The reason you saw more Goddard the last couple of weeks and not enough Ertz was because of the two tight end sets that they were running more so because they don't have Djax. If they get Djax back and they can spread the field, A, you should see Goddard come down some. B, you might even get some value in Ertz at 4,700. Now, he's not my value because he doesn't quite fit, but I will point that out. So don't mind that off of Goddard, depending on Djax. And then the value is going to be Hawkinson just because I don't think, again, too, even when you're going with that Stafford play, I think people want to use the Jones, the Golladay. Do they double stack? Or if they do double stack, do they use Hawkinson? And B, if they don't double stack, do they really choose just Hawkinson as a one-off? And you could still get it, because Stafford's price is up, use Hawkinson to lessen the price of the total stack, skip the wide receivers that everybody else is going to with him. And if people forget, Oakland used to be the Arizona of that flowchart, quote unquote, tight end defense, that Oakland used to be the team you would just smash against. They haven't really done anything to get that much better there. So I think that can make some unique stacks in a very popular game. And then you could run it back with someone like a Renfro and then put all those expensive running backs we talked about or more, whatever you wanted, and make the game stack different that way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Waller was one I had. I didn't know if you'd go there. I because I like the Charger Green Bay game to be different off the board. I don't mind Henry or Jimmy Graham as well, depending on which quarterback you go with there as a stackable play. Henry's obviously a lot more than Graham, but being that I don't mind Carr, and I mean, you say chalky Carr, but what, maybe 9 to 11% type range,
12% or less, right? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't see him being too high, so I don't mind going Carr, Waller for sure. You agree with you on that one, but a backup kind of play there, Henry or Graham, just because of the quarterbacks that I'm already looking at. My fade's kind of a cop out. It's Kelsey in the sense that if you are comfortable with your wide receivers, there's so many good, decent options this week at tight end and decent spots value wise, especially if you're trying to get up to Cook, CMC, that I don't think you need to pay 6,900 for a Kelsey against a pretty good Minnesota defense in general. Now, if you're struggling to find some wide receivers you like and you want to, in my sense, maybe I'm going Cousins, Cook, Diggs, or Cousins, Cook, Thielen, and I want to run it back with Kelsey on the other side. That's not totally out of the question. So, I mean, my fade was mainly to depend on your strategy. I think there's a spot for him if you're being unique. But as far as pure tight ends, you mentioned some value-wise. In two of them, I think you mentioned I like Hawkinson's one, it's 3,700. I don't mind Greg Olsen as one, 3,500 if you're trying to, mini stack around that game like you mentioned earlier with DJ Moore, Olsen, CMC, Henry. I mean, there's a 4-man stack at a game that no one's really going to have that much exposure to. So 3,500 Olsen's a guy I don't mind. So some value there at tight ends if you want to take some risk. Vance McDonald, 4,100. I think Pittsburgh starting to turn around just a little bit. Maybe they, can score. Indy's good, but Pittsburgh's at home. So, a younger quarterback can look to get the tight end involved more. I don't think anybody's going to have many pieces of that game, but he's another guy kind of had earmarked as value. As far as defense goes, we just talked about the play and the value here, like I mentioned. Play for me kind of comes down to three teams, really. I like the Seahawks if you're in the mindset of Jameis on the road, Jameis period, just turns the ball over a lot. I could see that being a popular play maybe, but maybe not because it'll be hyped up as such a high scoring, but we've talked about it all year that, Tampa can score, and especially Tampa. They're, like the, prime example for this is that they can score 30 and still Seattle have double-digit defensive points and fumbles, interception, a pick six type deal easily. So if they're going to be low owned, I don't mind going Seattle. Another one, a game that I could go either side, the Bills and the Redskins. Massive price difference in the two. So if you go Bills, you're expecting them to just absolutely dominate. I don't know, has Haskins been named, or are they still unknown who's starting?
I haven't. Yeah, still haven't seen it yet. Who's going to be in? So if it's Haskins, I mean, even more, because just smash that guy.
Right. And so, but I don't hate the Redskins either because of $1,800. Yeah. They could do enough to return some value if you're trying to build up. So they were kind of my value, and then maybe a sneaky value just because I like attacking Houston's offensive line is Jacksonville, 2,500. Pretty low on the board price wise. I think they can do some damage as well. So, 3 or 4 teams there that I'm looking at for the week on defense. What about you?
We're done. You read my notes. Yeah, it's the same. I mean, I don't want to reiterate it, but like you said, you nailed every point I was going to say. The fact that they can still score points with Jameis, but all Jameis does is throw picks. They don't have a run game. It's pretty obvious. I get that's why they're priced that way, but they're not 43 or whatever like you've seen the Patriots in them. And I don't really see, if they only get 13 to 15 points because they get scored on, but get a pick six in there and get a few sacks, they're the D that would be the popular break the slate D, like when the Patriots get 30 or whatever at 3,500 or 3,700 to start the season. That would be the Seahawks this week for my eyes. So I have to go with them. And the value, you said it, with Washington, their price is just too cheap. You can fit whoever you want. I don't expect them to get 15 points, but if they get 6 to 10, who knows? And honestly, they might get 0, but because you put them, you get to fit all the other guys that get 30 plus and take it down. Like you can have one, 10 point or less guy in your lineup, and they would be your quote unquote guy at defense that scores less than whatever, but they're too cheap and they're not in a terrible spot.
Yeah. And always this time of year to take a look at the weather. I hadn't looked yet. I'm behind this week because of the impromptu go to the game last night. Up there in the north, you could always have some rain, wind, snow that may help a Redskins type play. So I don't mind the Bills by all means, but to save $2,000, it's tough not to like doing that, especially when you try to build.
Yeah, and also too, I should note, I'll just give a little thing because I didn't give a lot of plays there. We're on the same stuff, but also note throughout the week what some of the O-line injuries are. Right? If a team's down, O-lineman, it never gets talked about enough. And I mean, you can speak to it from a betting perspective. I don't notice yet, and I hear this in the market from guys like yourself that are in it, quite heavily, that they don't adjust quickly enough for an O-line as fast as they'll run to adjust for, I get like a quarterback, but let's say a wide receiver or a big name tight end. It's like, does that really even matter? Yet they do make a small adjustment for those things. Quarterback does matter, but I'm saying, big time, but the other stuff. But O-line is so important. If you got a top O-line down that you see throughout the week, or a team loses 3 of their, linebackers up front, that can be a big deal to a team. And you see a lot of last minute switches from some of the sharper guys in the industry that move to those defenses at the end of the week. And you wonder, where did this defense come from? That's why they were monitoring it throughout the week.
Yeah, and that's one reason why the Jags is on my list, because I think Tunsil, I know he left for Houston last week. And again, normally by this time I have injury reports digested. I'm about a day behind, but by the time we get to Saturday, I'll have that.
And real quick too, it's not a call out, but we were supposed to have Bucks on yesterday. We joked about this before the show, but Jags Houston is a early game, 7:30 a.m. Right? I think it's in London.
Oh, it is. Okay, I didn't. Well, I thought I thought they changed to London to try to time up with
They
the main
did,
slate.
yeah, and then they went against it. You're right. Yeah, they did the first time, and then now the next two, last one and this one, they switched it up. So there is a good showdown slate, though. I looked already. There's a decent showdown slate with some money out there. So
Okay.
Shark, you mentioned, use some of those plays, and then Jax D, line them up. I like that spot for sure. I like all those calls.
Yeah, no, I knew it was London. I remember seeing. I just was under the assumption because last time I didn't talk about them because I thought it was going to go early, and then that's where I realized they were doing the main slate.
Yeah.
So yeah. Obviously, any Jags isn't on the list today because of the that Jags or Houston. Yeah. So that would be well worth noting at this point. The stack attack is next. Our favorite two stacks of the week. Obviously, mine right now is I'm going to go the Vikings and the Raiders. I mean, obviously, I can get to the Bucks, the Seahawks. I don't know if I can stack the Seahawks. I'm still not. I'm still under the market on how good they are. I'm not there. Very easy 3.5 last week against Atlanta, which wound up getting up to like 8.5, I think, by the time it was all said and done. But I like the Vikings and Raiders as being a little different. And then, I hadn't decided yet, but the Chargers / Packers game is on my list. I don't know if I'll stack it because I may just go like a naked Rodgers or Rivers or something and build around it. But guys I like to build several pieces with for sure are Vikings, Raiders right now. What about you?
Yeah, I'm still sticking with the Stafford call. Like I said, I like it most with Stafford, Jones, and Hawkinson, right? If you're going to double stack it, you can mix in Galladay. I just prefer Jones for the savings. The car play that I talked about, whether using Waller, Williams, Renfro, any of those guys. And then we'll see. Like, I'm going to write up the stack attack tonight. I got a few more I'm digging in on. You hit on one of them with the Chargers. I'll go more in depth on that. And then I'll probably throw in another one too, just to have something a little bit different off the board. I just want to pick through them and see what I really like the most between what's left on the table and leave it for the article for the subscribers.
So wrap this thing up, get out of here so you guys can hopefully digest this quickly tonight or in your commute tomorrow. We wanted to keep it, 45 minutes or so. Betting wise, two favorite plays based on the Super7 spread contest. What are your two favorite this week?
Yeah, I was going to hammer Bucks with this last night and tell him his Redskins are trash because he always likes to tell me that about the Ravens. But -10 on the Bills, I'll take it, especially if, like you said, it ends up being Haskins or anything. I know it's a big number, but I feel very comfortable with it, to be honest, even in that zone and where we're at. So definitely like that one. And then I'm a homer here. I'm going to double down on it, but the Ravens, man, +3.5. I think Lamar Jackson changes the game a bit. I think it's in Baltimore. I just saw our boy Feinberg put it on Twitter, and he's thinking sort of the same alley I am. He said, does Bill Belichick really want to give away all his secrets now? Because this could definitely be a team that he faces later in the playoffs. So, the Ravens are going to go all out. They want to get the W. It's like a mini Super Bowl for them to see where they stand right now. Are they for real? I like them at +3.5 at home. That's just for me. So Bills -10, Ravens +3.5.
So those are identical, the two I picked.
There you go. Nice.
So I am on them. I don't think Patriots will think like that. Not as much as maybe some, because it's massively important that they get home field advantage. And so when you still got so many one-loss teams out there, I mean, I think they want to keep the foot, on the pedal, but maybe could hold back a little bit. I just like the home dog there. I think the Ravens are good. I think they're built to contend with New England at home +3.5. I love it. And then the Bills I do like. And if Haskins gets named, that could go up to 11.5, 12 pretty easily. So if you really like it, you might as well lock it in now. Obviously in the contest, the lines don't move, so you're good there. Our dog of the week, it rolls right into it. I think the Ravens do get the win at home, so I'm going to stick with them on the money line. What about you?
I had them, but I had another one too. I wrote two down because I couldn't quite decide, and I wasn't sure where anyone was going to go. But the other one I will stick with my call is the Lions. Right over somehow I don't even know how they're the dog against the Raiders. It's just, I guess that's the way it goes nowadays. But they're +2, so they're only a slight dog. It's nothing crazy, but I definitely think that they pull it off, especially if it gets into a high scoring affair. I like the Stafford side more than I like the Carr side.
Yeah, probably getting the dog number, just being on the road. Survivor pick. Yeah, didn't forget it this week. I'm still alive, not in ours, but the one I've been doing. I would either probably go the 49ers tonight or the Bills, but I assume some people have used the Bills, like versus the Dolphins and such. So don't know about the 49ers if they've been used as much, but those are two of my favorites right now. What about you?
Yeah, I had the Bills if you got them, but I thought the same as you. I said maybe they don't, right? That's the thing. So my backup was going to be the Seahawks. I know you're taking a shot, but like I said, you're taking a shot against Jameis on the road. Seattle's a great home team. Their home record's got to be one of the best over the last 3 years or more. So I mean, in general, I know the Ravens are a pretty good team at home as well, but I do like the Seahawks at their spread as well. And it's only they only got to win the game, so I just think
It's
it's a fair number.
kind of weird this year for them because they're undefeated on the road right now. They're 4-0 on the road.
It's crazy, right? Yeah.
But they do have a great home record, so I don't mind that as well for them to try to get the win. Any final thoughts for you before we kind of wrap it up, make our announcement? Anything before we get to Saturday in the Audible? I know we got some late night golf. It's always exciting. Halloween, trick or treat, a lot going on tonight. Breeders' Cup. OG John's got us covered there. If you're a big horse racing fan, there's a horse racing channel in the Slack for all your detail if you want to check that out. Anything on your mind outside of that?
No, all good, man. Let's roll it out.
Yeah, so Saturday night, 7:00 Eastern, join us for the Audible live member-only chat held behind the in the site. So the links will be there. It does stay up on the site. So if you are busy that evening, you can watch it later on or Sunday morning when you get up to have your coffee before the games start. Don't forget about the Slack channel, hashtag live chat questions. We start the chat with that and any questions you have each and every Saturday night. Reminder, there is no golf next week, so we will not be live Monday night for the Smash Factor. We will be back a week from tonight for the CoinFlip, as always. Or I guess it'll be next Wednesday night. We'll be back to our normal scheduled time, barring anything crazy coming up again like happened last night. So I'm wearing the Honda gear today for a reason. Kind of a soft announcement. We will have all the details out here in the next 3 or 4 days, but our big giveaway this year, if you remember last year, we flew the winner in to play Blue Jack National with Bucks, myself, Moose from Fantasy National was a sponsor, paid for the travel and expenses. This year it's a Gups Corner only deal. We are, as everybody knows, I've gone to the Honda. I think this will be my third or fourth year. OG John lives there in Jupiter. Scott lives up by Jacksonville, and he's driven down. Met Baroff there one year. Met Feinberg there 2 years ago. Bucks has joined us. And this year it's going to be massive. It sounds like a lot of the DFS community is going to be there. Something we had decided a little while back that we thought no better way to have our big trip giveaway this year than the Honda. Normally we try to match it up with, kind of a big Augusta push like we did last year, the Masters. So the internal decision to us was, do we try to find some other kind of trip and let the big promo run through the Masters, or because a vast majority of the Gups Corner crew is going to be at the Honda, do we have our giveaway for that? And we kind of went back and forth and decided that's what we're going to do. So starting now, we're going to have probably 6 or 7 different ways you get entered into the drawing. We'll do a big promo push and email it all out and post all the different ways. But the reason why we wanted to get the announcement out was our gear is now finally in, stocked, and loaded, and we'll go live tonight. We will have a kickoff week here for the next week and a half. Combo packs you can save on, but the other deal about the combo pack is every time you buy a combo pack, so the brand new shirt and hat combo, you get a ticket into the drawing. Some of the ways I know that we've already confirmed is anybody that buys the PGA Tools package that we roll out, which will go live mid-December or so, leading up to the Tournament of Champions, will get you an entry. If you buy a combo pack, so if you're a brand new member and you buy a combo pack, you'll get an entry. If you're a current member and you're on the annual package, you automatically get an entry. So just because you joined us midsummer or something, we're not going to let you fill out. If you're a current member and you're a monthly and you choose to upgrade to the annual package, that'll get you included into the entry. So many different ways. And as I mentioned at the top, anybody that's given us a rate or review on iTunes, you've automatically got an entry into this deal. So there's going to be a way to get about, and there's going to be a few more. We're kind of locking that in. There's probably going to be a way to get as many as 7 or 8 tickets into this drawing. We're going to fly you out, all expense paid trip. The whole week's covered by us to Jupiter. We have a beach house there right beside the course, already paid for. We are going Tuesday night through Monday. If you win it, you have that option, obviously, depending on your travel schedule and all that. It's going to be a tight window. We'll probably do the drawing right around our 1 year anniversary of going live, which I believe is like February 4th ish. So, up in between now and then, you can earn these tickets into the drawing, and then we'll do the drawing live on probably our 1 year anniversary night. And, or at least, I mean, we'll do the drawing, but we'll announce it live, have a big deal. That'll give us about 3 weeks to get all the travel for you organized. You can come in as early as Tuesday night with us, or if you only can make it, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it works best for you, whoever wins it, we'll accommodate. But you have lodging and travel booked for the entire Tuesday through Monday. It's going to be awesome. I know there's a big DFS gathering taking place. It sounds like kind of in the mix. We will probably be involved in that in some way, shape, or form. I know Baroff's kind of involved in it, and so you'll be included in that as well. If we, and we're going to play golf 1 or 2 days. We're going to go to the tournament every day. One of the days, the Gups Corner crew and you, who will be with us, will be in the one of the executive suites all day. So probably Thursday is the day we're looking at, the opening day, since you have a lot of tee times there. We can see as many guys as we want coming in on 18 green. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome week. Tambo's going to be there for sure. JB's going to be there for sure. I'm going to be there for sure. Scott, OG. We have several people already committed. And then inside the Slack, if you're not a member yet, there's at least 15 or 20 guys that say they're going to come. I assume they will. So it's going to be a great time, great week. And for you or whoever wins this, it's all going to be paid for in comp for you. So it's going to be exciting. Tambo, anything to back that up? Any thoughts?
I'm pumped.
Anything I left out? I know there's a lot there.
No, I think you said it perfectly. And we couldn't break the news, right? I joked about the other night. I said, I wish you could tell us what it was, Gup, when we did the FGD pod together there, the Degenerates pod with Kenny being out. So I'm pumped for it. I'm excited because I know you've been down so many times. I'm going down for the first time. It's, get to see Killer Keith Mitchell pop that putt last year in Brooks and Ricky's face. I don't expect anything less this year to be able to be there and actually get to see it. I'm excited. And whoever wins, it's going to be one hell of a trip. Like I say, I've been with Gup. I've been with JB on a trip before to New Jersey. He does it big. He takes care of us. So I'm excited to be there. It's going to be awesome.
Yep. Feinberg's going to be there for the entire week too. We normally hang out many nights, if not all of them. So he'll be a part of the crew. Obviously a good personal friend of Gups Corner. So that'll be awesome. It's going to be a great time. Get your ticket entries in now. So the easiest way now is buy a combo pack. You're in. Rate and review us on iTunes. You're in. And then if you're already an annual member, you got another one. There's 3. You're a monthly member and you decide you want to take advantage of the, so to kick this off, I'm doing a code for the monthly and annual packages. So GCFFG 20 gets you 20% off, and it's only going to be good between now and next Sunday. So if you want to upgrade to that annual, do it now, and you get 20% off, and that'll get you another entry into the drawing. If you're not a member at all, you can go buy an annual package today, 20% off. That gets you a ticket, or you can go buy our combo football tools package. You still get half the season, and it locks you in for life. So next year we'll have an upgrade in the product with some things we're adding, and the price will go up, but you get the same price if you lock it in now, and that gets you 2 entries in any combo monthly package. Annual package you buy there. So it got to be an annual package. Obviously, we're trying to reward those who are loyal to us. So all the current members, you guys get an awesome deal because you're already locked in to several of those tickets just by doing that. And if you rate and review us, which is free, it gets you another one. And I know you guys are going to support us in buying those shirts and hats. The HV3 shirts will go out tonight as well. Again, all the profits minus the business expenses will go to the HV3 Foundation. We're looking forward to that. So all that stuff's going to start rolling out tonight. Look for it. Obviously, the pod will come out a little bit later, but so when you hear this, spread the word. We're excited. It's going to be a good week. As always, we'll see you Saturday night and about 48 hours from now. Have a great Halloween and trick-or-treating with your kiddos. For JB behind the mic, Tambo with me as always. We will see you Saturday night. Good night.